Okay, so this will be a review of Cybros Relay Station, another one of the rush maps of the Team Liquid map contestant. This one has caused like a fair bit of drama. Every single TLMC, we always have like one of map which basically not an outsider that managed to like squeeze his way around in getting into the finalists. But well, this one is this time around. Cybros Relay Station is like, I'm not gonna say that it's the prettiest of maps, but it works and it is a very simple layout, and more importantly than anything, it works. So you have, it is basically classic, a classic standard map, but with an aggressive take on its size and rush distances. It works. So yeah, the is very standard in basically all of its measures, and that is one of the things which causes like kind of an uproar or like dislike from the rest of the map making community. But it is well executed on quote, and it accomplished its mission, and it fulfills the roles of the rush category in the Team Liquid map contest. Pro gamers are also like kind of fond of it because it isn't like outrageous. It is just a, a standard map with it, which is smaller, and it works. So right out of the gate, a couple issues. There will be probably a liberator spot between the natural and the third. That can be like very easily fixed by just moving a couple doodads slightly back in order to allow, for example, stalkers to reach more easily into the liberator. The small pile of rocks should probably be reduced in size and move it around slightly towards this cacti a little bit, just a little bit, in order to allow the defender to access more easily its forward fourth or alternative third base in case of an attack. It also will have the bonus of basically allowing this base to be taken as an alternative third instead of just as an alternative fourth, and it opens up the entire like clockwise expansion route or the map. The third base itself, it is like slightly further than what is accepted nowadays, but that is fine because of the setup in the natural base slightly forward. The two ramps allow for a very easy defense of that high ground, and that high ground also at the same time allows for an easier defense of the third base, because the only good attack path towards the third that allows for a quick reinforcement, it is this one, and that is exactly below the high ground, so it allows for that. Regarding the forward fourth alternative fourth base, siege tanks can't reach the town halls in the third, so that's obviously very good. And they also can't easily fit into these places, which are easily exploitable positions. They need to be dropped on, and that's kind of tricky for Terran. At least it is more APM taxing, but also these rocks also don't have line of sight blockers, so that means that any tank that is like left in here, if for example a Zerg of a Protoss breaks an attack from a Terran with siege tanks and whatnot, they can be like rather easily be taken down from the other side with any unit which has like 4 or 5 range or more, so it's basically any unit. Regarding the center of the map, as I said, it is very straightforward and it works. So it works. Regarding the aesthetics of it, I don't like it. I don't know many people who like it. It is like a map from a newer map maker, so it's basically completely understandable that the aesthetics aren't like huge shining stuff. Regarding, for example, the corner bases, there might be there probably is a liberator spot right in there, which can abuse the base, so that can be fixed by lowering the high ground and increasing the space behind the base. For most map makers, do that, like increase the space behind your mineral lines a little bit, so there can be like at least 3 units, 3 little squares, like at least, kind of, in order to allow, for example, for stalkers or for the queen of the hatchery or for anything to like wrap around the back of the mineral line and take down any enemy forces. It has got a little ripperlet, and at the natural base there are the overlord pod, which is basically this one that is considerable in size, and this small 2 in height cliff, which allows for overlords to park in there. The issue with that one is that any unit would find itself in this ledge will also have vision of the overlord. So for that, I will seriously recommend to add like a line of sight blocker at the top. And regarding, for example, those very small, skinny overlord pods in this scattered around the center of any map, can sometimes be kind of buggy regarding the vision of units in the low ground trying to attain vision in the high ground. So I personally tend to add like invisible line of sight blockers. Oh, these ones, at least around the edges of the pod, like this, in order to avoid like any possible conflict and make it 100% guaranteed that the units in the high ground won't be visible like out of nowhere by units in the low ground. They also need to, map makers will also need to take care that no unit can actually get on top of the line of sight blockers. So we'll also need to add a slightly bit of pacing paint, but for the most part that is not a problem. Regarding the defensiveness of the fourth, the base is fine. The base is like fine for the most part. Like any attack from the construction zone, any attack from the high ground will also is like an attack from the high ground, but at the same time you're like going all the way around in order to attack from there, so it is understandable that you will gain like an advantage. Besides of that, the rush distance, it is actually kind of standardish. That is something that I kind of dislike about the map, because you could make it slightly smaller, but it works. So regarding that, it is the attack path, even when the distance has like standardish, slightly smaller, the attack path itself is like very straightforward, like on Dreamcatcher, the map by Team A. Beyond that, I'm not sure if I will like make huge changes, like besides like trying to neat up the map, make it like prettier or better cliffing. The spacing is fine for a rush map, which in this size, it is okay. Most map makers I think will agree that the map is like not god awful. It is like playable, but they don't like it because the map itself, it is like kind of like ugly, but hey, it works. Okay, so don't hate on it. Don't hate on it that much. So beyond that, I'm not sure if I approve it. I'm not a fan of it, but I'm not hating on it either. It is a good map for a newer map maker. It is an excellent map. Okay, it is better than my first map, at least like the first 20. So that's a bonus. Okay, maybe there is like the overlord, I don't know, add an overlord pod. Not really, because there is the liberator issue. Yeah, and there is also this one right in the front. I would prefer it if you could like sneak an overlord somehow, but that's fine. Mineral lines, it is fine. There are in total 3 base pin geysers which can be easily scouted. That is what I usually tell people to do, not to, for example, leave like the two gases in the inner part of the main base, which can make it hard to scout for example, a Terran or a Zerg that only have like one shot, or even the Protoss itself, which even has a hallucination, so it's not that much of an issue. But Protoss Zerg can have, Terran Zerg can have some issues regarding scouting the gases and trying to like get one single scan of the Overlord that is getting followed by Stalkers or Marines. So the gases itself, it's fine. The third, okay. The alternative fourth, I kind of like it that there are 3 options. And beyond that, it is, if there is like an aesthetic overhaul, I will be like pleased to see it. But yeah, that is all for Cybros Relay Station. See you guys in the next one.